Hello and welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We are live and it is Friday night. I hope you've all had a marvelous week. I hope you all been doing much better than I have because, if I were to get into my personal life where I'm at, y'all would be crying from Depressing Me Street because you'd think I was like living in Logan or fucking something like that. But, that's why I love doing this show. It gives me a chance to just get away from some of that stuff, to yell at people who probably deserve it, yell at people like James Spence for disliking the video, because we always know it's him. If it's not him, it's the China Sticks Corporation, that's for damn sure. But, it's one of those things where it just is what it is. But you don't want to hear me talk about any more of this shit, because, guys, we have a lot of stuff I want to get into tonight. A lot of stuff from the so-called happiest place on earth that's not quite so happy for at least me, myself, and I. But I can't do this alone. Of course I have to have my panel starting with, always, the professional and on time, Nico Suave Regole. Sir, how are you doing?
It's good to be back on a live show for once. It's been a while since I've done one of those. And I kind of want to hear the Depressing Me Street song now. Like, if someone can please make that, I would love to hear it. But, China Sticks Army, let's mount up and let's have a good show.
Mount up, motherfuckers. Mount the fuck up. Brian Nussbaum, I see you're in the chat already. Garth McMurray, I'm always happy to see you in the chat, sir. Kees, what's up, brother? How have you been this week?
Then things are happening on the stream. That's interesting.
Uh-oh.
I hope we're able to go. Are we still rolling? I assume so.
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently the moment that I get introduced, Chris Ingle crashes out. So, maybe I'm a bad luck omen because, I'm also still waiting on food that I ordered about 40 minutes ago, and the restaurant already closed. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll still get that, and that's kind of a bitch. But other than that, I've had a pretty good week. You may have seen me compete in Full Metal Random. I'm happy about my performance there. I am actually hijacking the news for tonight. I am doing the news, not Chris, for a change. That is interesting.
Okay.
So look out for that. And that's what I have to say.
Nice.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday, happy weekend, y'all.
Absolutely. So while we're trying to fix some stuff, because, I was about to throw us over to a guy who, pretty much begged me to be on the show to talk about Disney remakes, that being our good friend Chris Ingle. Unfortunately, he kind of crashed, so I have to do a little bit of on-the-fly mixing until he either pops back up or something else can happen. So forgive me while I just talk to you guys for a moment, because, look, I got to keep the camera on myself because I don't want to, show too much of the wizardry behind the scenes. But here, you know what, Case? While we're, here, Nico, because you were at Orlando, and yes, guys, later tonight you will see our reaction to it. But, Nico, talk just a little bit about how your experience was.
It was definitely an interesting one. This time it was interesting because no family with me. It was just me and Ed Harrell, who, by the way, I kind of put my foot in my mouth with him. For some reason, in past conversations with him, I thought either he said or someone else said that Ed Harrell was 60 years old. He's 46. I'm an idiot. And he would not let me live that mistake down. So, Ed Harrell, if you are listening to this or watching this, let me apologize publicly. I am sorry. You are 46 years old, not 60, as I for some reason thought you were.
It's fine. We all say that Roka is like 200, and yes, he is pushing 49 or 48. Sorry, Roka. Sorry. But it's just sometimes it's fun to call people who are, getting up there old. Because, I like to think of myself as being old as dirt. Because some days I am. I'm an old soul.
Dude, we're 25. We're young.
I'm cranky, okay? Let me just be cranky. Sometimes.
You're way crankier and older than you should be for your age.
Yes. I mean, I live in America. Have you met me?
Unfortunately, yes.
But guys, and honestly, tell us how you're doing in the chat, please, as well. Robert Adams, I see you're in there, and yeah, you know what? Okay, fair enough. He brings up a great point. Never assume a person's age or that a woman is pregnant. Yes, yes, that is the best way to keep yourself out of trouble. Otherwise, if you do that, you are fucked.
Yeah, good on you, Robert. Good call. But getting back to, so one of the interesting things was that apparently the hotel Ed and I were at was also the hotel that Harloff's mom and brother were staying at. Well, at least his brother.
Huh.
At least his brother. I don't know if his mom was also staying there. But so yeah, we got to see Harloff and Dagnino coming through the lobby multiple times throughout the trip. Usually to either pick his brother up or to pick something else up, because apparently Brian had the wheel. Brian had the wheel in his hotel room, and it was in a very large-looking pizza box-ish thing, and so it was kind of cool to get that first glimpse of like, yay, we're getting an actual wheel. But then again, I'm one of the few people who likes the digital wheel because it's always nice to me. So it's a toss-up for me.
It's true. You know, usually when we are in fandom matches, we have good luck with it. Minus that title match, but you know, what are you gonna do?
It is what it is.
But
yeah, we had a good time on Friday night. We went to this place called Oh Shucks Karaoke Pub. Oh Shucks is the correct first name. I can't remember from getting the last name correct, but it was called Oh Shucks. Ran into Frank Janisch and Aaron Turner, of all people, who I have not seen affiliated with Schmodown stuff in a very long time. But yeah, we hung out with them and a couple members of the Action Army who had just gotten into Orlando around that time. Alex McFarland, her husband Lucas, Jake Acavetta, Billy Bedford. Acavetta's mom was also there. We had a good time. I almost got blamed for one of the toilets being flooded because I was the last person to come out of that bathroom to point out that the toilet had been flooded. But I was like, no, I'm just giving you the warning. Hey, someone flooded the toilet. It's a giant mess here. But yeah, we had some good sets in terms of karaoke. I sadly waited too long to get up on that stage. So by the time last call came, they missed my song. I was going to do Kermit the Frog's Rainbow Connection. Like I wanted to save, because I know 1,000 Miles is a big running gag with the New British Empire gang. But Tony Held is going to be at the Spectacular, so I was like, we're going to do a duet for that song in Los Angeles. Healed. There, happy now. So we're going to do a duet in Los Angeles. We're going to do a duet of 1,000 Miles in Los Angeles. But yeah, I wanted to do something slower. Rainbow Connection is a very lovely song, and I'm sad I didn't get to do it, but oh well. That's what I get for waiting too long.
But let's ask the real question here. Did anyone, and I mean anyone, perform have such a crowd pleasing, like crowd starting performance like what happened when I decided to start the party with Uptown Funk?
Maybe not from our group, but I got to tell you, there were some really damn good singers in that pub. This pub was probably like where professionals go to just have some fun and just show their chops to random people, possibly get noticed by a recording company or something. Because there were some really, really good singers there.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Saturday, we all went to Universal Orlando. I think we went on maybe one ride the entire time, which was the Men in Black ride, and then we spent a lot of time walking around the magical world of Harry Potter. which I had gone to that in Los Angeles last year, and it was a little different in Orlando. Like the setup is obviously somewhat different, but you see one Harry Potter world, you see them all, and it's still amazing in and of itself. But yeah, we had a good time, shot the shit, took some photos, and then we went to the Plaza Live, which is literally right next door to a milk packing plant. I'm serious. Like, this is the milk district of Orlando that we were in.
I'm scared to ask what else they specialized in.
For some reason, Dan Skip Allen, who lives in Orlando, who was at the event, he for some reason led me to believe that this was like the rough part of town. But then the Uber driver who was taking us to the venue was like, no, this is actually the nicer part of town. I don't know what he was talking about. But then again, all we kind of saw was a milk packing plant and right next door a giant mall plaza where the theater, which we were going to be in, just so happened to be. And, ran into some familiar faces that we know from the fan leagues, like Dan Skip Allen, like Nazario Montenegro. Very cool seeing him for the first time. That's always one of the cool things about these meetups is that you only know some of these people through a computer screen, and it's always cool getting to like see them and hug them and have face-to-face conversations that aren't hindered by computer lag for the very first time. Dan, he went all out to make sure that the after party was great, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And Nazario, he was good to talk to. I should probably get to the vibe of the venue when the raffle took place. It hurt me. It hurt me when that raffle was going on because I kept getting canceled out at like the fourth of 6 numbers.
Oh.
And so like by the time we got to that last ticket and my number wasn't it, I felt my heart just sink to the floor. Because I think I was more vocal than probably anyone else about how badly I wanted to get on that stage. And I'm going to be honest. Had I gotten on that stage, I would have lost. Only question I really knew was a Lion King question. So at least in round 1. Round 2 was a little different. By the way, this was a 2-round exhibition. They kind of just forewent the wheel round because they were trying to stay on time. But yeah, congratulations to the winner of the match. His name has been all over the Schmodown page. I kind of forget his name.
Very good.
Yes. Congratulations to him. You did good, and I look forward to seeing if you get drafted or how you do in your first match. But yeah, it hurt me. It hurt me, but nevertheless, I got a lot of good advice from a lot of people over the course of this trip. Guys like Frank Janisch, guys like Aaron Turner, even the Action Army. Harloff gave me some advice. Kalinowski and Kaiser gave me advice. And, and once I landed the next day, Ben and Guy did a stream, and I asked them, hey, can you give me some advice just so I can figure out where do I go from here? And yeah, they said, they basically said, and even Ed, he gave me some good advice too. They all said, step up your game. We know you can talk a big game, and we know that you'll always be at every event you can be at, but show us what you have to offer the Schmodown. And so that's kind of how I'm approaching things moving forward. It's just like, as a competitor, as a host here on Dedicated Art, what can I show my value of to the Schmodown crew? And so, yeah, in 2020, I can't wait till we make certain announcements of, like, what we're going to introduce.
Oh, yes. Boy, it's kind of funny that because, so yes, now that our guest is in, but before I introduce him, I'm just going to do a little housekeeping real fast. This week, the three of us sat down for a good, I want to say like hour and a half.
Yeah. And I'd say 2 hours maybe.
Something like that, yeah. And
a lot.
For quite a while. And we have some stuff that we have some ideas coming together, and I think probably when we do the show the week of my birthday, we're going to make those announcements. So but you guys have about a month to get ready. because 2020 is going to be the year of dedicated art. Even more so than 2019 already has been. So
I was actually thinking about it today. 2019 has been Chris, Nico, and myself as dedicated to art, just us. And while we are doing pretty well on our own, it's not as perfect as we want it to be. And because of that, we want to make some changes, expansion. That's going to happen, and we have some ideas, and you'll find out what that is in a few weeks.
exactly. And Kees, unfortunately, I do regret to tell you that you might want to quickly shut your camera off and turn it back on because you were a little blurry during that section there. You're good. You're good. Bro. You're good.
Last thing I'll say in regards to the Orlando trip,
Much
if you
better.
can send the camera back to me,
Absolutely.
is there's first up the bowl match. I don't know those bowl matches. Every single one they have, the Schmodown has, they always deliver in some way or another. Like you wouldn't think so with some of the people competing in the bowl matches, but they always find a way to deliver. And that one delivered, definitely. And whenever you go to a live event that has either Dan Merle, John Roca, Chance Ellison, or Mike Kanowski, there's a special vibe in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Like something feels different about it. Like no offense to Paul and Snyder and Irwin and Fouch, but there's an argument to be made that 3 of the 4 of those competitors kind of choked under the pressure of the bright lights. But when you get people like Roca and Dan and Chance and Mike, they rise to the occasion, and they rise greatly. It showed in the performances that they all had. It showed in the crowd reaction to those matches. The passion in the speeches afterwards. Again, I'm doing my best to say things without spoiling the match because, again, there's still people who probably haven't seen it yet. But I definitely say you should go see those matches because, again, another great Schmodown live event that delivered in spades. I can't wait for the spectacular so that we can do this one more time for 2019.
Absolutely. And I think that I about cover it for the Schmodown stuff before all this. So now, as promised, now, as I was mentioning, so our guest begged me as soon as this topic was announced to be on the show. And I was like, yeah, he kind of should be here because he is sort of a Disney expert. He really does know his stuff. He has some very controversial opinions, which is kind of why I'm curious to see what he's going to have to say in the second half. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the show, Chris Ingle. Brother, what is up? How have you been since we last saw you?
I've been pretty darn good, although I've seen Maleficent, and there are better days, I hope.
Oh, dear God. Oh, so hold on then. So after we do the news and we talk a little bit about Maleficent 2, are we going to have to talk about it just a little bit?
We may have to talk about Maleficent 2 without spoiling it, but
Okay.
I'll spoil it without spoiling it. If you know the story, you're not missing much.
No, not really. Not really. But yeah, so Kees, you mentioned something rather interesting before we went live. And that is you're hijacking the news. What?
Ha! I'm hijacking it. Because, well, for a change, you didn't have anything prepared, and I prepared it for a change. Hey, that's okay. Sometimes these things happen. So, yeah, I found a couple of news stories that we're going to talk about, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I do it for a change? That doesn't usually happen.
It's been a couple years, so hopefully not too rusty.
Yeah, I used to do some kind of a news show back on Take 3. Remember that? If you remember that, holy shit, your memory is something.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And apologies to the stream if it's coming a little slow. I'm trying to fix it, guys. But anyway, Kees,
It's like the member berries. Member. Anywho, so today we're of course talking about Disney cash grabs. I mean remakes. Yeah. So in the category of that, Pirates of the Caribbean has a reboot in the works again. Uh, Look, Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the three. Uh, Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, and At World's End. Dead Man's Chest and At World's End might have problems, but I do love them, and that's mostly because of world building, universe building, characters that are fun to follow. Then Stranger Tides had a decent start, but then went downhill very quickly as the movie went on. And I don't even know what the fuck Dead Men Tell No Tales tried to do, but nothing in that movie really worked. Now we're getting the next one, apparently, because Disney needs money. And the thing is, as much as people might have hated the last two Pirates of the Caribbean movies, they made a shit ton of bank, really. Like I believe that Stranger Tides made about $1 billion
roughly.
Worldwide. So and Dead Men Tell No Tales still made 800 million. So they still make a lot of money. Now we're apparently getting a reboot from the writers of one of the writers of Chernobyl, one of the most popular series these days, apparently. And that's where I'm a little conflicted. I think there might be a decent team behind it, but I don't know what to think about the movie. Anyway, Chris Dohmen, what do you think about this news?
I'll tell you, nope, I don't want this. I do not. I do not want. No. Straight up. Okay, guys, it's happening already.
Oh no.
Grab your popcorn and grab your drinks because it's rant time. Copyright 2019 dedicated art.
Even did jazz hands.
Of course. Because, oh dear fucking God, this franchise is not even 20 years old. It's not even 20. And yet, we already have to reboot it. Even the last film that came out 2 years ago actually made a profit. It made good money. Oh, but it only made good money overseas, so clearly people need a new franchise, and they're sick of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. Then just continue the fucking story without him. Let's follow Brenton Thwaites. Let's follow What's Her Bitch. Let's follow these new people. Let's not fucking reboot it, and let's just follow the people that we've been following for the last film. Because you want to know something? I liked them. I liked Will Turner's son. I liked Barbossa's daughter. Let them be a thing. Let's see them go on their own adventures. Let's see other parts of the world. We saw Singapore in the third one. Let's go back there and really fucking explore it. Or hey, let's go to Europe and spend time up there because, we were there for what? 20 minutes on Stranger Tides? I want to see what's going on in Britain. I want to see what's going on in India. I want to see what's going on in South Africa. Or shit, let's go to America and let's see what's going on in the colonies. Like, hell, let's say that we were doing a Pirates of the Caribbean movie that was set during the American Revolution. How fucking interesting would that be? That would be fun. But no, of course not. Of course not. We have to just fucking reboot it because, it's not good. It's not as good as the first one. None of them are as good as the first one, okay? Because the first one was lightning in a goddamn bottle.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, I do want to quickly say, you're like one of the few people who did like the kids of the original characters because
Yes.
I thought they were terrible, both in acting and writing. Ingle, you have things to say.
Oh yeah, I have things to say. Look, when people ask me, usually younger kids, because I work in schools, okay, and they ask me about Pirates of the Caribbean, I tell them the same thing every time. Watch the first three. Don't bother with the fourth one. If you're a glutton for punishment, you can watch the fifth one. Otherwise, stick to the first three. That's all you need. It's like Indiana Jones. Stick to the first three. You don't need what else is going on here. They tied it up in a nice, neat bow at the end of the third one, and I was happy. I did not feel I needed more. I saw the fourth one, and I felt like it was this disjointed, you don't need it. And then the fifth one, they tried to redo or undo everything that they already did. He's cursed again? Wait, I thought he was doing his job and he was doing it fine. What is this cursed crap? Wait, what do you mean this ending in Davy Jones is alive? What crap is this? That's all it is crap. You don't need a reboot. You need to let this thing die. Bury it, reward the original trilogy, and let's just move on to something new and original. I don't want more Pirates of the Caribbean unless I go to Disneyland and ride it 15 times, because that's the only Pirates I want to see more of.
Nico?
Who's in charge of this reboot?
Disney.
But did they give an actual name
No.
of like a director or a writer or a producer?
Yeah, the writer, they have, it's in the article, they have writers. One of the writers worked on 4 of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies already, like co-wrote the script, and the other one is a writer of the popular series Chernobyl. And Disney has it in the works, and they're behind it. They want to do this.
Okay, at this point, I think you basically have to give Kevin Feige control of everything Disney owns, because he seems to be the only one who knows how to move forward with a lot of things. Like, everyone is so stuck on going back to the well, and Feige seems to be the only guy who knows how to move forward and build it. Like, one of the things that I like about wrestling is a good promotion always knows how to build new stars for the future. They don't just rely on stars of the past. And that's essentially what the MCU did. It gave us stars that would hold us over for the first 3 phases, but it also gave us new stars that could take over afterwards. And
one.
that, nevertheless, I feel like unless it's Feige doing the work, it's not going to work.
Well, and plus, but now let's be fair here. There is someone who I wish was here, and we could ask his opinion. But guys, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to reach out to Caleb Coho and ask him what are his thoughts on this new Pirates reboot, because I'm really curious to hear what his thoughts would be.
Oh, he's already jizzing in his pants because of this. Let's be fair. Yeah. So, moving on to things we're not excited for, at least me. Other people are. The Obi-Wan spin-off series, we have a little bit of things about this, where Ewan McGregor, star of the upcoming series, star of Obi-Wan in the prequel trilogy, Ewan McGregor is really excited about this upcoming series. He even used an F-bomb in one of his interviews, describing how excited he is, which I was like, okay, that's interesting that he used that. And we also now know that the series will take place, we already knew between 3 and 4, but it is pretty much exactly between 3 and 4. So around the time that Solo takes place, like 9 or 10 years after Revenge of the Sith and 9 or 10 years before A New Hope. With that said, Ingle, I don't know what you think about this upcoming Obi-Wan series. Are you excited like Chris and Nico, or not like myself?
I'm a huge fan of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've been wanting more for a long, long time. And I think what they're doing is really smart. They're only going to give us 6 episodes, only about an hour each, which to me screams to me miniseries. I'm okay with this, even if it only ends here, which unfortunately it's Disney. We know it won't. But if it does, I could be satisfied with that. And I want to see more of what Ewan McGregor brings to Obi-Wan. We've had 3 films with him, and it's been fabulous, and he does a great job as that mentor role. So while you're sitting on the desert watching Luke grow up, what else are you doing? I kind of want to know that.
Well, I would say read the comics because there are some
Not
comics.
that they cover much, but
Ah, I think they cover the essential things about what he's doing because it actually does show what he's doing besides watching them. But that's just me. Nico, what do you think about it being exactly between 3 and 4 around the time of Solo?
We saw what happened in Solo everywhere but Tatooine, where I'm assuming Obi-Wan Kenobi was around that time. If he left the planet, we might find out about it here. If he didn't, well, there we go. And the mystery of what is he doing around that time keeps the intrigue of now that we know what time period this is set in. Because, like, for all we know, we could be getting like a story of a former great Jedi slowly descending into madness as he struggles with figuring out, does he want to keep his connection with the Force or does he shut it off so that the Empire doesn't find Luke? And I know it was in the comics. I've read a little bit of it, but the surroundings of Mos Eisley, of Tatooine, can also help keep the story interesting because, it's a place of scum and villainy. So there's always something going on that serves interest from a fan's perspective, a viewer's perspective of, how does a Jedi in this time period deal with some of this versus what we saw in Episode 1 and versus what we saw in Episode 4, where, like, it was kind of the end of Obi-Wan's story around that time. So, like, he didn't give a crap if he took out his lightsaber and chopped a dude's arm off because he was leaving the planet 5 minutes later. He didn't really have much involvement on Tatooine in terms of Episode 1 because he spent a good majority of that trip just sitting on the ship doing nothing. It was Qui-Gon who was having the fun. So I'm curious, I'm interested, and I'm just happy that Ewan, because he's been the hungriest out of probably anyone on planet Earth for this series to become a thing. He wanted more than anything to revisit this role, and he's had so many more experimental roles since Star Wars that he has new layers that he can add to the character from that acting experience.
Yeah, according to the article, or according to the interview that he had, Ewan McGregor had to keep lying and keep his mouth shut about this for 4 years. He knew this since 2015. He knew this since 2015, and he needed to keep it shut for so long until now he could finally reveal it. So yeah, I can imagine he's extremely excited to reveal it and to get back into it. Chris, do you have any thoughts before we move on?
Look, we all know I'm excited. We all know I'm going to watch the hell out of this thing. We all know that I'm a huge fan of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and I really only want 2 things from this show. I want to see him completely broken and struggle mightily with the fall of the Jedi Order, and I want to see that one final freaking clash with Anakin, where just for a brief moment Obi-Wan actually thinks he can save his friend, only to just fully accept the fact that now he is more machine than man. And that's all I want. And I'm happy for him that he's excited. I'm happy for him that that he can finally talk about it after having to hold it in for 4 years. And that's about all I got. Obviously, Kees and I are on complete opposite ends here, and you know what? Screw it. I'll say this real fast. You're not entirely wrong, Kees. That yes, some of little pieces are shown in canon, like in Rebels, in the comics, and I believe in a certain point of view the novel. There's also a couple quick stories in there.
I haven't read that yet.
But let's face
No,
facts.
my-
Your average fan doesn't read those or watch those other shows. So this is just an opportunity for the more casual fans to get a quick catch up. And sure, should that be the reason for the show's existence? No. But if you're going to do that,
they want to just expose. They want to expose more of canon to the more casual fans, because the more casual fans really only watch the movies, and therefore might have big questions about how the fuck Mole can show up in Solo, stuff like that. And maybe they want to explain that in shows like this, because this is a show that really heavily crosses over from the movies, where they do show Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. That is like the biggest grab for people. Like, this is why you need to see the show, and I get that. But as someone who has read and seen almost all of canon, I am extremely overexposed to Obi-Wan because he is in fucking everything. He's in novels, he's in comics, he's in all the TV shows pretty much. He's in so many movies. I'm like, as great as Ewan McGregor is, can we stop with this character? I get it. He's popular. Okay. That's quickly my issue.
Well, it cheapens your journey for you.
Yeah, a little.
Kind of like how, actually, for me, it kind of cheapened my experience with Force Awakens. Even though, yes, I do love the movie. I genuinely do. But, again, it cheapened my experience when Disney completely said all of Legends is fucking gone, destroyed. Nobody likes that shit anyway because it's all stupid and it's all fucking gross and, ew, stupid. Nobody cares anyway. Because, yeah, who spent decades reading that?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people did. I know. However, if they had, you do realize that if they had actually stuck to the Legends timeline, they had to adjust everything, and they pretty much couldn't make any other movies because so much was already filled in. That's kind of the issue with that.
Of course. But yes, so that's essentially that.
Oh, anyway, let's move on from Star Wars before I piss off more people in the chat. This is something that I honestly didn't really see coming, but it is about to happen. Joker is about to outgross the Deadpool movies for the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. And Ryan Reynolds responded to it with the most Ryan Reynolds response that you could possibly have. He made the Joker poster, and instead of Joker, it says, "You motherfucker, love Deadpool." It's just glorious. I haven't seen Joker yet because I'm waiting for my girlfriend to get here, which she will in 3 weeks, so we can see it together in the theater. And I'm still cautiously optimistic about it. I don't know if I would like the movie. I hope I will. But the fact that it is the highest grossing movie clearly shows it's very popular with audiences, and that's a good thing, I guess. Chris, you have seen this movie, Chris Dohmen. Thoughts on this? Oh, that was quick.
I look. Congratulations on success, but I'm not surprised. It's kind of the year of comic book movies.
It is. This is true. Ingle, did you see Joker?
I have. I really like that he took a different approach. He's not like any other Joker. I always appreciate that when somebody else tries to do something different and can make it work in their own way. But everything else around it kind of felt a little disjointed at times. Like, I enjoyed the ride, but I noticed some bumps in the ride, and it just, I'm glad it's a one-off. I am glad it's just a one-off. I don't want to see more of it.
But considering it makes a lot of money, it's probably gonna get another one.
No.
No, they said already that it was intended to be a one-off. It was designed that way. Even Joaquin Phoenix has said, this is a one-off. I'm not doing this again. So I'm hoping money doesn't talk and they create another one, because as it is, the way it is, it's fine. It is what it is. It's not egregiously bad. And hey, you got Robert De Niro in there. That's a plus. Robbie D in a comic book movie. That's worth something. But otherwise, I don't want to see more.
Nico?
I still have not seen the movie yet, but in terms of how much it's grossing, I attribute half of this because it's a comic book movie. The other half because it's an experimental movie. Why did Deadpool make as much money as it did? Because Deadpool was sort of an untapped territory. And the one time they did try it, they botched it to the point that it's a meme in the form of X-Men Origins Wolverine. But there was the appeal of, this is Deadpool the right way. Let's see how this looks and what kind of story can be told behind it, because this is a very unique character's story to tell. And the same can be said with the Joker, especially considering we've seen the Joker's story done several times already. The appeal was how can you experiment with this version that we haven't seen from the other versions? And just that appeal alone is enough to drive people in and make people want to see it. Like, how does this stand out from Jack Nicholson, from Heath Ledger, from Cesar Romero, from Zach Galifianakis in the Lego Batman, from Mark Hamill in all of the cartoons and video games? Like, people want to see, how is this going to stand out from the others? And for the most part, it succeeded in getting people through the door.
Yes, and how perfect. Kees would have had the perfect opportunity to continue the show. Apparently, his food finally showed up. So, I guess I'll sneak out with some. I'll make some extra thoughts on. I guess. On the one hand, like I said, I am happy for its success. But I swear to God, if Warner Brothers is that goddamned greedy that they have to make another one, or that they have to include Joaquin somehow into the new continuity of the worlds of DC, then they have completely wasted they've wasted everything that this movie was trying to be. A one-off experiment to sort of bring insight of what makes a character like that tick. And especially how he can be relevant to today's situation with the whole toxic masculinity, as well as, basically pointing out incel culture, as, we like to call it here. And if they honestly just make a sequel just for the sake of making money, then Warner Brothers, you'll have fucked everything right in the ass.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
With that said, sorry that I need to do that, but
your food showed up.
As I said at the beginning of the show, I tried to order food at a restaurant that was closed. That one didn't deliver, so I was like, I'm still hungry, so I want food. I ordered at a different restaurant. That was it. Okay. And I need to get my money back tomorrow from the other one, because fuck you, Domino's. Oh wait, that's what you work for. That's where I actually ordered. Yeah. Okay. To be fair, if I order 10 minutes before a restaurant closes, I can expect that, but it's still a bitch move. Now,
right.
Anyway, for the last news story, look, we have been trying to avoid this topic for a while, even though it's been going on for a while, and I guess we should probably talk about classic old-time directors versus the MCU, which apparently Martin Scorsese started a while ago by saying that he thinks that the MCU movies are theme park rides, are not real cinema, and everyone is joining in on the conversation apparently because now suddenly everyone needs to have an opinion. And of course, some of the old-time classic directors are saying that yeah, the MCU is not good for cinema. It's not cinema. They're not actual movies. It's not film. And on the other hand, people like James Gunn and Jon Favreau are responding. But we were inspired by you to make movies, and we love directing movies, and we just happened to direct a couple of the MCU movies because it's kind of a big thing. Now, what I just wonder is the MCU killing cinema, killing movies, or is the MCU actually good? Because as we just said, this is the year of comic book movies. This year, Captain Marvel and Spider-Man: Far From Home grossed over $1 billion. Avengers: Endgame, of course, the all-time worldwide record. Joker most recently, is about to break the R-rated record. So in a way, comic book movies are defining the box office at this point. However, that might harm like independent film. The more the more stuff that these directors are tackling, like Scorsese thinks that he is being hurt with his films, like The Irishman, maybe. So that all said, Nico, you have thoughts, I believe.
Okay, let me put it this way. I consider the MCU movies to be good films. I consider them to be good films that all have some sort of message that they're trying to tell through their movies. And it just so happens that they kind of all connect. That's the appeal of them. Where these directors might have a point is that I don't think the MCU movies have sort of killed cinema, but they might have broken studio culture. Because now what has happened? Even Disney, the company that owns the Marvel Studios, they're hesitant to take chances with newer stuff. They keep going back to certain wells because they want the blockbuster money. Sony, they keep trying over and over and over again to make things happen with the connected Spider-Man universe. So much to the point that they were almost going to rip Tom Holland's heart out and stomp on it because all the work they had done to put him into the MCU, they were going to undo because they wanted to go back to that well that failed with Tobey Maguire and with Andrew Garfield. Look at the Dark Universe that Universal tried to make. They made the same mistakes that were made with Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man universe. They set up for a universe in the very first movie, and then they left so many plot holes they couldn't really go for a sequel. Like, they didn't try to just rely on the strength of one movie on its own and then build off from there. They tried the universe building epidemic has plagued studios. The need to make blockbusters has plagued studios because they saw one thing was working for this one studio, and rather than be original, they wanted to play copycat, and it backfired on them completely because they didn't have someone like a Kevin Feige at the helm to steer the ship in the proper direction. So these directors are wrong about the MCU movies themselves, but I won't say they're wrong about the culture with studios that has been created by these movies. Independent films, they're going to be fine because, again, the directors and writers of those films, they don't really have to really answer to anyone. They can do their own thing, be creative, and if it flops, so be it. But they try something different. They're at least being artists when they fail or succeed.
Yeah, and if they really want to blame people, I think they should probably blame people like George Lucas and Brian De Palma and Steven Spielberg for creating blockbusters in the first place back in the 1970s. Chris Dohmen.
Throw it to Ingle.
Oh, Ingle. Okay. Ingle.
I think Hugh Jackman put it best when he hosted the Oscars. How can a movie that makes $1 billion be considered unsophisticated? The reality here is that it's making money. It's entertaining people. And isn't that what a movie is supposed to do? It is supposed to entertain people. Now, just like books, just like restaurants, television, doesn't matter what your medium is. When you are feeding the masses, not all of the masses are going to like it, and there are options out there. Scorsese, I love Scorsese. Scorsese is an auteur. He's a very smart guy who's been in the industry a long time. But you know what, Marty? You've got a certain style all to yourself, and people like that for you. But sometimes you just want that sit down, action pack, blow them up, and then maybe there are days you wanna sit down and cry, and then the next day you want something meaningful, and you're gonna watch a documentary. That's the whole point of film, is to be able to express and to give people different experiences that they can take in. It doesn't all have to be that way. So I don't think it is ruining it. I think it's just giving people what they want right now, and it's entertaining. And if you don't like it, Marty, continue making your movies and getting your Oscar nominations that you continue to do, because it doesn't change the fact that you're an amazing director. Your pieces are amazing, and people are still going to come to you. It's not ruining it. It's just offering something bigger. It may be the McDonald's of film right now, but sometimes is getting a Big Mac a bad thing? I don't think so.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. And what I would say is, look, I might not be a Scorsese fan at all, because of all the films that I've seen from him, I didn't think any of them were great. And that does include Goodfellas, The Wolf of Wall Street, and The Departed. Yes, I've seen those movies, so fuck off. Those movies are not for me. The MCU movies are for me because I enjoy most of those. And I am, in that regard, like the masses. The masses just enjoy what they enjoy. And that might be a little, dumber in some people's eyes. Film is subjective. Film is like whatever you want to watch, you watch. So if you like to watch those superheroes blow stuff up, you watch superheroes blow stuff up. If you want to watch a more sophisticated artsy movie from Scorsese, you watch a more sophisticated artsy movie from Scorsese. That's just the thing. Opinions are a thing, and everyone likes what they like. And as Ingle just said, if you're in the mood for watching the one thing on one day and another thing on another day, you just do that. And apparently these days, people just want to watch comic book heroes blow stuff up, have fun, fight Thanos. That's what they do. So I don't think it's killing cinema, because it is what people like, and they are still well-made movies, in my opinion. Oh boy, the shades are on. Dohmen, go.
So, yeah, I've intentionally avoided this topic for the last 2 weeks because I'm just going to put it frankly. Everybody on both sides could not be any more wrong, but also any more right. Because from a certain point of view, blockbusters like the MCU, like the Dark Universe, the universes that are working, I should say, they are kind of killing cinema. In a way. In the sense of a lot of real what are fantastic, independent dramas, comedies, low budget sci-fi flicks, low budget comedies and whatnot. Like, there's no more market for them in the theater. Now they have to go to all these streaming services, your Netflix, your Hulus, your Amazon Primes, your Crackles, your whatever the fuck your platform is. And I'll be honest, that fucking sucks. It actually really fucking sucks. Because, yes, I do enjoy a lot of the MCU. Sure, do I think some of it's crap? Of course I do. Because nothing's perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world. But I also want the option of, seeing some things that make me think more in the theater. Because, actually, I'm reminded of a private conversation that Kees and I had one time, where what he and I essentially came to realize is that when it comes to the argument of a film versus a movie, a movie that is, supposed to be, it's not really dumber, but it is supposed to be more simply explained for more mass consumption.
Yep.
Obviously there's nothing, and again, there's nothing wrong with those. Hell, my favorite movie of all time could be considered just a movie. But I view it...
To be fair, they're like, The Empire Strikes Back, I think, does both. The Empire Strikes Back is first and foremost a very entertaining, fun action sci-fi fantasy movie. But there's a lot more to it. There's like a lot of underlying layers that mean more than you initially think. And that's why on rewatch, I appreciate The Empire Strikes Back more.
Totally.
So,
absolutely. But, sure. And then for every one of those films, which, again, there can be a lot of layer and depth, but for every one of those, there's like 20... I can't believe I'm using this film, but... Because, actually not here. For every one of those... God damn it. Sorry. It's phlegm season for me. So, around this time of year, my lungs get a little bit filled up with phlegm, and I have to get rid of it, and it's not pleasant. So, I'll be having some fun over the sink once we're on break in about 2 minutes here. But once we have, okay, basically what I'm trying to say is the independent film is dying. And that kills me. Now, I specifically say dying in theaters, where I think it still can have the best exposure. Because let's say you're going to a theater and you see something like Black and Blue, or let's say you see something like Rocket Man or Long Shot, films that came out this year that I really freaking enjoyed. But I'll be honest, those aren't the films that are getting advertised anymore. Now,
unfortunately,
it's all about the big blasters in every franchise. Your Mission Impossibles, your James Bonds, and it's like, so I get it.
A movie that I'm a little sad about that didn't get more recognition, which I think it should, was Tolkien.
Thank you.
But also, that's an independent film that doesn't really get viewed a lot. Only the really big Lord of the Rings fans know about it because, Tolkien, they're like, yes, and they see it, and it's like, this is a beautiful, awesome movie. Why don't more people see this? Because it's so small.
Yeah, and it's one of those sad things where, to be honest, I sympathize with what Marty and Francis Ford Coppola are trying to say until you realize why they're saying it in the first place. And actually, fuck it. Let's bring the shades back on. Because when you take a look at the bigger picture in the background, Martin Scorsese is saying this because no studio would take a chance on him to make The Irishman, except for Netflix. And Francis Ford Coppola is being a dick about everything going on because literally nobody will finance his film Megapolis. And this is the guy who gave us Apocalypse Now and the Godfather trilogy, and nobody wants to make his fucking movie. Why? Because pretty much every movie he's made after The Godfather Part 3, they made no money to mixed reviews. Nobody wants to work with him, and he's being a whiny fucking bitch about it. Don't believe me? Look up the numbers for yourselves, guys. And Scorsese, sure, his films are getting great reviews every single time, but name the last movie he came out with that actually made a shit ton of money. I'll wait. Oh, wait. That's right. Pretty much none of them since The Departed. So, yeah. That's why I've been trying to avoid this conversation, because Marty and Francis are just being dicks because they're basically acting like entitled white directors who don't want to give the new generation of any credence or any respect, any form of, recognition. And it's fucking bullshit.
Look, the truth about them as directors is they've had a great legacy. They started way back when, before any of these new ones, but let's give these new people a chance. Because besides the fact that a lot of these MCU directors are like saying you are my inspiration. A lot of those MCU directors, besides the MCU movies, also have other good movies that they made. James Gunn, besides Guardians of the Galaxy, made good movies. Jon Favreau, the same thing. Taika Waititi, same thing. So give those guys a chance. And yes, I do feel like what you're saying, that they're just bitter old men who know they're past their prime, still trying to get something in, but they're past their prime, so no one's going to take them, and they're not successful. And yeah, money talks. Yeah. So they're a little bitter in that regard. That's all I have to say about the news.
All right. So then, guys, thank you for tuning in to this part of the show. We're gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and as soon as we get back, we're gonna really dive into this this Disney talk, because I'm not done with the shades. I'm not done possibly getting some rants. And yeah, Thrawn, I'm sorry, but I do like the shades, and if you don't like them, then buy me some new ones. But before we go, unfortunately, Nico, you do actually have to head out. So could you please, sir, plug yourself before you head out?
Sure. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random meaningless numbers at the end on Discord. I promise Instagram, Snapchat, and LinkedIn are coming eventually. Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There's no letter G. You can find me doing some stuff every now and then on TMG Entertainment, where I am the reigning Choke Slam Wrestling Debate Champion of the world. And, of course, right here on Dedicated to Art and all the places Chris and Kees will say in the second half of the show. Hashtag Trivia for Thon 2. I really need to get that promotional video up and running. But, again, when you're a college student, you have very little free time. And for those of you in Pennsylvania who are watching this, tomorrow from 12 to 6, I'll be doing some stuff for charity purposes for Thon. There's going to be a spaghetti dinner at, what is the name of the church? Let's see here. At the North Apollo Church of God here in Western Pennsylvania. So if you're in the area around that time tomorrow from noon to 6 p.m., come stop by. We'll give you some spaghetti, and we'll take donations, helping kids with cancer.
Mom spaghetti, just like 8 miles. So guys, don't go anywhere. We will see you in 5 minutes. See you shortly.
I like the fact that Richard did bring up the fact of the match quality, but didn't quite do as much as what the question was kind of alluding to, as to what you show a non-wrestling fan to get them into the wrestling. Whereas Nico, while he didn't do much of it, I think he did enough to kind of prove his point. So I'm going to have to agree with Cody, and I'm going to have to award this point to Nico. And the celebration.
Excuse me for a moment.
Is he going to jump into a pool?
I don't know. He's going to do something.
And wait.
He's got a belt. He's got a belt. I can't.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Deftones to me has always been one of those bands who's had an album for every step of my life, and I love that they are just this old band, perfectly set from like my time span of being alive. In that, whenever I was listening to White Pony for the first time, all of that had very, like, everything is teenage angsty titles in their own song. Like, it's literally made for me at my teenage years and even like my younger years as I was listening to it. So then 2003 hits. That's when Deftones, the self-titled album, drops. That is me at 13. That is me with 3 Days Grace's first album, emo, cringy, hardcore teenager. And Deftones self-titled hits that perfectly with that tone. I was so angry, and it had so much raw scream. Hexagram is just 4 minutes of screaming straight. Just raw, visceral screaming and stuff like that. And a lot of the rest of it just had some nice, sad, melancholy notes that I think just lands perfectly for that teenage angst feeling I was at. So self-titled, for a very long explanation, is my number 3.
Have any of you lost a relative or a friend to cancer?
Raising hands. I don't know if we're supposed to be raising hands. I'm clicking right now, but I'll soon.
Yeah. Yes. Fair enough. And I myself actually have lost 2 grandparents. My grandmother on my mom's side to ovarian cancer back in 2011, and I lost my grandfather on my dad's side to prostate cancer in 2015. And I'll just say this, that it freaking sucks. And it sucks when you feel so powerless that you don't even know how you're supposed to help, how you're supposed to cope. You don't know how you're supposed to, feel. Even when it's not you, even if it's just someone that you're close to, it's impossible just to wrap your head around that. And I totally forgot. I just found out that my uncle got diagnosed about a month ago with lung cancer, already in stage 4. So I guess I gotta say, Dylan, actually, thank you for inviting me on this chat to tell cancer, hey, fuck you,
Go fuck yourself.
you,
Mhm.
you horrible fucking thing. Which actually, okay, you know what? Hold on. I know we're going long enough, but you know what? I don't care. Here, how about this? Name me a couple of people that you could honestly see as a manager next season. Then.
Okay. Josh McCouga. Look, as entertaining as the Wildberries are, they're not in the top 10, and that means that they're going to be split up next season because, they're just not good enough. But McCouga, I mean, the guy has energy for 10 people, and he could easily lead a team like with his silliness on camera, where the team can just focus on not being that silly because they got McCouga for that. Devon would be another one. I feel. Other than that, from the top of my head, I don't know. What do you have?
I'll actually I'll double down on your McCouga, but I'll also say if Roca either doesn't win the team match or doesn't win his next singles match,
right,
I think he finally hangs up the towel and becomes a manager, because he's not gonna leave. He's never gonna leave the Schmoedown.
No, he's not gonna leave the Schmoedown. But I do think I do agree that Roca is probably done with competing, but you can't have him leave the Schmoedown.
No.
So him as a manager, that would be gold.
And welcome back to the second half of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. All right, so we talked about some fun Disney related stuff in the first half, and we defended it to an extent. But now it's time to start crapping a little bit, I think. At least in one particular department.
I'll be right back. Continue.
Oh boy. He'll be back in a second here. This ought to be fun and interesting. Very important, I'm sure. Ingle, actually, you know what? Hold on. We did forget to really get into more on Maleficent 2 in the first half of the show, didn't we?
We did.
Well, that's fine. We can save it for the second half, for this half, I'd say. Absolutely, yeah. Totally not trying to stall for time while I'm having a sudden technical malfunction with my headphones. Because, hey, why should anything work right? Am I right?
I don't know, Skype. I've never had that happen. Oh, we got the shades.
Oh, we got the shades, yes.
I didn't know this was a thing. I'd get my shades.
Go get them.
Go get them.
I'm gonna go get my shades. I'm getting my shades.
Go get your shades. It's going to be a shades fest around here. So, okay. Now, Kees, because I don't want to run too long tonight, how much of a struggle is it going to be to really let some of these bad movies have it?
Oh, I'm just gonna let them fucking have. Okay, this is what I'll just start off with. Disney remakes should not exist. The live action versions that they've made hardly ever improve upon the animated version, which and the biggest problem with it is they choose to remake their animated classics that are beloved by pretty much fucking everyone. Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Aladdin. Those are some of their most popular movies ever in animated version. The only reason that these movies are making bank is because everyone is like, oh, nostalgia factor, I want to see this again. Fuck you. Fuck you and your fucking nostalgia factor. I am so happy that I didn't see any of these besides Beauty and the Beast, and that's only because I'm not the biggest fan of Beauty and the Beast, and I kind of prefer the new one, but it still has issues. But fuck Disney for remaking their stuff simply for cash grabs, because they have no other fucking reason to make these movies. On the other hand, I'll take the shades off. There are a couple of bright spots in there that I do like, and we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about them definitely. So, I want to break this down into a couple different categories. Starting with the stuff that came out before this was a big trend, because everyone forgets that before Alice in Wonderland started this horrifying trend that just doesn't seem to fucking stop, there were some live-action remakes of some of the films that were an attempt to just reintroduce by way of making new films. Now, Ingle, have you seen actually all 14 live-action Disney remakes?
Are we counting everything I sent you on the list?
Oh shit, you sent me a list?
The USA Today list.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, then yes, everything on that list I've
Okay.
seen.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 15 on that list, actually.
50, yeah.
And that list is terrible, by the way.
Eh,
It is a terrible list. I disagree with a lot of it.
yeah.
I mean, okay, you got to think. This goes back to a trend actually in the mid-90s.
Yes.
The first one that is listed, I
Is
still remember, is the Jungle Book. The
directed by
1990.
94, directed by Stephen Sommers, the guy who would later go on to do The Mummy Returns. And it's not the worst thing ever, but it's clearly not good.
No, it's not good at all, because when you're a kid, okay, and I was the kid who during the summers, and you still see this now, my mom would take me to the movie theater and they'd have, the dollar movie day where you pay $1 and you watch an old film. Nothing wrong with that. And that's where I was introduced to Bambi, The Jungle Book, Sword in the Stone.
Nice.
That's where I got introduced to these as a kid. And Jungle Book is one I remember vividly, because I remember watching it and it just felt larger than life on the screen, and the music was there, and it's Jungle Book. It's enjoyable. So when you're a kid and you see in trailers to VHSs your parents buy, coming soon to theaters, the live action Disney's Jungle Book, I'm thinking, oh, Jungle Book, and then you watch this, and it has almost nothing to do with the cartoon. It's not even close to the book, and I'm like, what is this?
And the animated film was almost nothing like the book to begin with.
This is true. It has nothing, and it's so bad to me. And Carrie Elwes is in this. I can never forget this. Carrie Elwes is the soldier, and I had right before that been introduced to Princess Bride. And I loved it. I'm thinking Carrie Elwes, As You Wish. And then as a kid, you see him on the screen. I'm like, it's Wesley. And it disappointed in every possible way it could.
Yeah. And yet, despite having the worst possible first attempt at doing this, at least it wasn't as... Well, okay. Actually, no. I'm not going to crap on the 101 Dalmatians remake, because you want to know something? Jeff Daniels, he's a lot of fun. The actress who plays Anita, she's a lot of fun. Mark Williams / Arthur Weasley, and Hugh Laurie as Jasper and Horace. They're great. I fucking love them. And Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil. She is queen. Yas queen. Oh my god.
Yes.
Honestly, one of the best villain performances in any Disney film, period.
Yes.
Because she carries just the right amount of over the top. Hell, I remember this so vividly, where she's basically taunting Anita that it's almost like I'll be wearing your dog, woof. And you're like, yes, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That is the example that Disney should have stuck with. You remade something, and you took the source material that you had your film to base it off of. Great, beautiful. The dogs didn't talk. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you modernized it just enough. You put it in a modern setting.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a musician, he's a video game designer. Nothing wrong with that. I'm okay with this. And she's a clothing designer, and I like those little changes to it. Kept the honor of the story, but kept it going. And then it was with a tour de force performance that, let's face it, Emma Stone's got a lot to live up to.
Oh, she straight up can't.
Let's see what happens. But no, 101 Dalmatians, the remake, is absolutely the template that Disney should be looking at for redoing. But 102 Dalmatians is the template for what Disney shouldn't do. Stick with your story.
Can we just not talk about that one? Let's just not talk about that one.
Gosh.
It's no.
By the way, it seems that there is a trend in terms of live action remakes. You can make one, but never make a second.
See, that's how I feel about Alice. I saw Alice in theaters, and I loved Burton's approach to it. Oh, see, no. Well, hold on, wait. No. Not for Alice. No.
I need a third pair for Alice.
See, no, for me, I loved the approach that was given to it. And visually, it was very pretty for me to look at. I liked it. But I love the fact that you're not exactly retelling the story. You are honoring the story, but you're continuing it. Almost as if it's a sequel, sort of. And I liked that. I liked giving her more... giving Alice more authority, more gravitas in what she's doing there. She's not just wandering through as she does in the original story. I like what Burton did. I love that. The sequel was where I lost the rails, and I went, no. But the first one, I loved it. And when it ended, I went out loud. I'm like, wait, there's not more? I was loving it. Every minute of it, except Anne Hathaway. I could have done without Anne Hathaway. But
Case,
you both have...
Case, you want to go first? You want me to?
Are you fucking kidding me? Do you actually like terrible acting from pretty much everyone besides Helena Bonham Carter? Helena Bonham Carter was the saving grace of this movie. It was the one good thing. Everyone else, especially Alice, acted fucking bland out of their ass, like they had no directing to it. Burton tried his Burton-esque stuff. To be fair, I'm not a fan of Tim Burton because, he directs a lot of shit. And his style just doesn't work for movies, especially not Alice in Wonderland. And I'm not the biggest fan of the original Alice in Wonderland, so I was honestly kind of curious. Maybe this new take on it would be better. But no, it was not. Because the CGI is horrible, the characters are terrible and extremely one-dimensional. There's not much to them. Alice herself, they try to do stuff with the character, but it doesn't work. And it's mostly because I forget the girl who played her, but she can't act to save her fucking life.
Mia Wasikowska.
Exactly. And I don't even remember what happened in the third act. They did a lot of...
And that's where I'll take over. This is where I'll take over.
Go.
This movie insults literally everything associated with the original novel. It insults the audience, and it insults the character of Alice. because it turns her into a chosen one. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you! You do not turn Alice into, the prophecy says that she will defeat the Jabberwocky, because that's what we have to do with all these stories. We have to build her up. And Alice has returned, and she's gonna kill the Jabberwocky, and instead of making her this woman who actually who can't win in a world of no logic, we're just gonna give her a sword and she'll solve everything with that sword. Fuck you! The fact that this movie had to pull out every single cheap possible angle to make you think you're watching a good movie because, it's quirky because it's Tim Burton. It's a cheap effect. The CGI, as Kees mentioned, looks fucking terrible. I can pretty much see the lines of what is the computer.
Especially Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Oh my god.
Oh my
worst.
god.
And not to mention, Johnny Depp gave arguably one of his worst performances of his entire career in this fucking movie. And I do not say that lightly, because I hate Dark Shadows. I really hate On Stranger Tides. And let's just face facts, people. Once again.
What about Mordecai?
Ugh, God. You've been on a roll with that with reference to that movie lately. Jesus.
I know, right?
But, and again, I wouldn't feel so insulted by this movie if it tried to make the greatest cardinal sin of all. It forces logic into a world that has none. Lewis Carroll has literally rolled to China from his gravesite because of the insult by forcing logic into his world that has no logic. You literally destroyed the appeal of Alice in Wonderland. You destroyed the appeal of Wonderland itself with your fucking attempt at putting logic into a world with no goddamn fucking logic. So look, Ingle, to be honest, I'm glad that you enjoy it. I genuinely am. But for Kees and myself, this was the first slap in the face of many slaps in the face to come from Disney.
Yeah.
Then I missed that slap, but it did come around for me in the first Maleficent, so.
Hey! But hold on.
Oh, and this is why I'm like Ingle. That's funny.
And, okay, so...
By the way, are we going to mention the Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Do we have to?
It's so forgettable. There's not really a point to it. Like,
no.
No.
All it was an excuse to get Nicolas Cage in a Disney movie finally. And that's all it was.
Look, the thing is, the Sorcerer's Apprentice has been done 3 times, and it was the best the first time. It was second best the second time, and it should never have been done a third time.
Nope.
I don't know why they did this.
Nope. Not a clue.
Yeah.
So,
am I the only one too that every time I can never remember the guy's name, but every time he talked, all I thought of was Hiccup.
Oh, Jay Baruchel.
The whole time, all I'm seeing is Hiccup. That's all I was seeing.
Okay, bud. I don't know what kind of movie we're in now, but this is definitely a weird one. Yeah.
Nick Cage is a sorcerer.
Oh no, not the spells! Not the spells! Ah! Ah!
And then Alfred, wait, hold on. Alfred Molina, sir, I respect you. You were Doc Ock. You were one of my favorites. What are you doing in this movie?
Hey, he was a Tipo in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I was about to make a Tipo quote, but I forgot all of his lines. I'm like, oh, fuck. What's a Tipo quote I could pull? But nope.
Throw me the whip. Throw me the whip.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and whip anyone who made this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Actually, wait, hold on. Are there any movies we forgot between 102 Dalmatians and Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Let me look at the list really quick.
Yeah, double check that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm double checking.
Because
I know a lot of it has been the last decade, pretty much.
A lot of it has.
Yeah, and especially the last 5 years, because the last 5 years, one has been coming out every year. or
It's-
more
it's,
than
it's just been constant.
So 102 was in the year 2000.
which one?
Which one?
102 Dalmatians was in the
Oh,
year 2000.
Yeah.
Sorcerer's Apprentice wasn't on the list, but totally get why it's there.
Yeah.
Guess they wanted
Yeah,
to balance
basically
out the
2010 is Alice, so
Okay.
there wasn't a lot in between.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, that's right, because 2000 to 2010, they were still trying to force every Disney sequel possible, and that will be a conversation for another time, ladies and gentlemen.
Third time around.
So, here, how about this? How about this? Before we hop into the one that really fucking pisses me off, let's talk about one that pissed off Kees a shit ton, and I think, Ingle, you like this one, and one that I'm starting to come around on. 2015's Cinderella.
Okay.
I don't hate this one as much as I used to, actually. And it was upon a rewatch that I started to notice what it is I actually am starting to like about it. Kenneth
What?
Branagh's direction. I love the camera. I love the way he moves the camera. And I love the fact that he made the choice to have Cinderella and the prince at least attempt to have some form of connection before the ball, because yes, I do love the original film. I actually still do. Problematic as it is, totally get it. But even I have to admit, she and the prince meet a little too quickly before it's true love. So at least
To quote Elsa, you cannot marry a guy you just met.
exactly. And of course, come on, who doesn't want to see more of Rob Stark in anything? Right?
Did you see Rocket Man? I didn't want to see certain scenes in that movie. No.
Oh,
He was great. He was great in that movie. I didn't want to see certain scenes in that movie.
oh, it's just two guys butt fucking. It's fine.
Thank you. I just watched that a couple weeks ago with my wife, and I didn't want to relive those memories. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
The thing with
something to keep in mind for you two, okay? Ingle, you're married. Kees, you have a girlfriend. I have no one, okay? So if I could just see anybody in love, I'm just like, okay, good for you. I'm happy for you. Fuck
So
you.
you want to see Rob Stark butt fucking?
It's more than what I'm getting right now, man.
Oh God, you're pathetic.
No shit. But okay. Back to the topic though.
So,
And it like I said, so it's a combination of the fact that Brandon's making those decisions and the fact that I do like the cast.
Mhm.
I can't hate it. Although some of it is still a little ridiculous, and this is actually one of the few times I'm like, Helena, please see yourself out of this movie. I don't like you.
yes. She did not belong in that movie. Was not a good choice for fairy godmother.
Nope.
Although, I will say that costume design for her, makeup design, her design. I liked the design. I didn't like her. in it.
I liked none of it. Absolutely none of it. But yes, Kees, take it away.
Look, my biggest issue with the movie Cinderella is Cinderella. I did not like Lily James as Cinderella. I thought she was a very bland character in this movie, and that like in the original is not much better, but it has some charm to it, and I felt that this movie lost a little bit of that charm, especially with Cinderella. And look, I like Lily James from what I've seen from her, because I like her a lot in Baby Driver. It's one of my favorite movies, and I liked her a lot in Darkest Hour as well. I just thought she didn't work in this movie. I like Richard Madden as Rob Stark. I don't like him as the Prince. I think that the scenes that, like, I like the attempt of them having scenes together. I just don't like the scenes together in terms of execution. I thought it was very boring overall, and that was something I've seen the movie twice now. Most recently, like a month ago or something, I watched it with Irina, and Irina did agree with me Like the scenes between Cinderella and the prince are just boring, and simply because, yeah, those characters don't really work. As you say, Helena Bonham Carter, an actress that I usually love, and as I just mentioned, she was actually one good thing in Alice in Wonderland, didn't work in this, and that's unfortunate because I think she's a great actress, and she couldn't even make the fairy godmother work. The movie does have redeeming qualities in terms of like how it's made. Costume design was nominated for an Oscar even, and of course like some set designs, costume design, directing by Kenneth Branagh because he's a good director.
Oh,
It's just that overall, like some of the main characters didn't work for me, and if especially in a movie called Cinderella, if Cinderella doesn't work for me, then the movie doesn't really work for me. That's why I'm not a big fan of it.
that's fair.
What I like coming back to, though, and you haven't mentioned her once,
I was
is
literally
Kate
about to say this.
Blanchett
Oh,
as the stepmother. Oh my God, Lady Tremaine incarnate. She carried her scenes so much you want to continue to hate her. Because the thing
you
is,
want to punch her in the face.
that's what I love about Lady Tremaine in the original, is that sly, like right after the scene in the original, right after the girl's tore it up and she's about to leave and she looks back and she goes, "Good night, Cinderella." That coy, I got you. I got you. And Kate Blanchett does that and so much more. And she's got that bitch face on her, but it works. That really makes it work. And really listening to Branagh's direction and that. Branagh knows period pieces.
Yes.
Branagh knows them. That's his bread and butter. That's why it worked for Thor. Even though modern, but Asgard is a giant period piece in its own
Yes.
way.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's why it works. And Branagh's the guy you want coming in to do that. But I can't agree with you more about Cinderella. Lily James, to me, the one thing I told my wife when we watched it was that she was too happy all the time, too optimistic. I'm like, I need a moment where you feel beat down and then you pick yourself right back up.
I just remember a big scene that was one thing that the Nostalgia Critic touched upon, and I was like, I 100% agree with this. The dress ripping scene. In the original animated version, them ripping the dress off of Cinderella is horrific. It's very animated, and you're like, oh my God, this is not happening for her. What happens in the live action remake? They rip the shoulder. Boo-hoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, so, and for everybody who had to head out, I hope you guys all have a great night. And okay, I'm trying to think. Should we touch upon one that we actually like around here? Or should we wait to...
Okay, let's ramp up to the better ones.
Okay, then never mind. Let's dive down to the bottom of the barrel. The true masterpiece of shit out of this era. Little film from 2019 called The Lion King.
Haven't seen it.
This is the worst of the bunch.
I-
Straight up is the worst of the bunch. And here's what pisses me off about it. Disney, I asked for literally one thing out of this movie. Just one thing. One thing. Take my one criticism with the original and fix it, please. And that is just make the message clear, and also make the message so that way it doesn't turn itself on the main character right before he has a chance to actually fully, live out the message of the movie. Not only did you not do that, you had to crap all over everything that I actually loved about the original film. Because it was Mufasa's death, fucking terrible. This sudden subplot about the hyenas and how they've been taking over the Pride Lands along with Scar, completely unneeded. It's not needed. You don't need anything to do with that. Case, one of your favorite scenes in the original is the luau scene, correct?
The what?
luau, you know,
Wow!
Timon and Pumbaa's distraction. Towards
Oh, pretty much. I love anything Timon and Pumbaa do in the original.
Okay.
Dress up and do the hula.
Yeah. Again, that's one of the funniest things in the original. I love it.
That is amazing.
But here's what they do in the remake. Tonight, we bring you for your
dining pleasure.
For your dining pleasure, we invite you to be our guests.
Yes.
And then they run off. Yeah. Oh, they do that. And yes, I wanted to spoil this for you because I've had to hold this in since I saw the movie.
Okay, so I'm never gonna watch this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I will agree with you. Okay, I will agree with you. But to me, there are two bright signs in this movie that I like. First of all, James Earl Jones. That's fine.
He sounds.
You brought him back. No, oh no, you couldn't have done it with anyone else. No, he was fine.
He sounds tired.
He was fine. Oh man, but the only other thing I liked, and I was surprised I liked it, and I spoiled it for myself a little bit because I heard the soundtrack, was their changes in the rendition of Be Prepared. Now, Be Prepared for me is one of my favorite Disney villain songs of all time. I love Jeremy Irons /
Jim
Cummings. It's over the top and Hitlerish, and I love it. Just love it. This one, I really liked the slyer. This is a master plan. This is a guy manipulator in the slyest of ways, and I think part of it is because Chiwetel Ejiofor probably can't. I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But he probably can't sing, is my guess.
Not really.
Because he doesn't sing really. He speaks, and they keep it very short and brief. But it works.
Yes.
For
And actually,
what
you know
that scene is, it works.
I fully agree with that because it basically it's sort of like he's basically doing like a spoken word poem almost about how he will promise to give all these hyenas all the food they want if they just help him do this one horrible thing. And it's honestly, to me, it is a great interpretation of that scene. That's the kind of shit that if this movie had done more of, I would have been on board. But it's too much rinse and repeat.
And then the greatest sin of all, which happens with Disney continuously with these remakes. Do you want to know why Beyonce is Nala? It's not because she has this beautiful voice that can make it. No, she has a beautiful voice to create a new song that's going to go up for Oscar contention just because it's there, and I can't stand it.
Yep. But the thing is, it wasn't the only movie released this year to have that problem. Let's talk about Aladdin.
Oh boy, do we have to.
Oh!
Have fun. Have fun.
Oh my God! All right.
I wish I had popcorn right now.
I want to report a rape. Whoever worked on the original Aladdin just had their asshole grow 3 sizes. I believe.
No, Macon was in on this. Macon was in on this.
Okay, so besides Macon, oh my God, they do everything the original does, but worse because the actors are worse. They include new songs that you will puke out by the time that the song is halfway through. Like seriously, what is the name of that fucking song that Jazz?
Helpless. It's helpless.
Speechless.
Or speechless. Sorry, I was thinking of helpless.
Seriously, I remember watching the movie with my girlfriend, and that we were about halfway through the song, and then I was like, "Say speechless one more fucking time! I dare you! I double dare you, motherfucker! Say speechless one more fucking time! I will bust the cap in your fucking face! I'm so fucking done with you singing fucking speechless because the message is fucking clear! You dumb bitch! Fuck! Oh my god, this song aggravated me so much. And this was just one of the new songs. They added more new songs, and I don't know why. And I don't know why this movie made a fucking $1 billion, because everyone apparently has the nostalgic boner the size of Wisconsin. I don't know what. I don't get it.
My problems is I took again, like as I said I would do. I took my kids to see this film. I took them to see it, and I'm not, other than this Speechless, which, put it in a vacuum by itself, if you did it just once, it's not a terrible song. Vacuum by itself, not terrible, fine. But they repeat it like 3 times. I get it. You're gunning for an Oscar. Shut up. Yeah. And then, okay. All right, let's take care of this now. Jafar, also one of my all-time favorite villains. Love me some Jafar. Yeah, in this movie, you not only took that, stepped on it, cut its throat, shot it in the heart, and then scalped it, but you did it with me crying. This was so terrible and atrocious. Iago, I was sitting there hoping with Iago. I heard Alan Tudyk was going to do Iago. I'm like, okay, all right. All it was him basically going, the whole damn time. Oh, and all right, elephant in the room, Genie. All right, Will, what do you got for me? Will? Oh, wait, you're, okay, friend like me? Wait, this is good. Okay, all right, cool. All right, I'm with this. And then as soon as friend like me is done, it goes back to this very awkward, him trying to be a cartoon, but it doesn't work. And then we get, after that whole scene, we get Prince Ali. And again, this has the opportunity, and I like the arrangement, and he's doing fine. But then it's live action. This all should have been done as Bollywood numbers. Tell me I'm crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably.
They didn't touch it until the ending, and that was only for like 1 minute and 30 seconds. This needed that touch. It needed that. And then if you listen to the lyrics very carefully, they PC'd up this thing so bad. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was for the better or for the worse, but they anything that resembled the original that they thought could get them in trouble, they erased it and tried to turn it into something else.
Where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. Yeah.
God, no.
And yet...
by the way, I want to say, I actually like Will Smith as a genie for most of the movie, as far as I could like him, because, of course, you can never recreate what Robin Williams did. But the subplot as him having a romantic relation was horrible.
I'm with Dohmen. I'm like this on it. But all this was, I kept looking at it going, wait a second. This is Hitch with magic powers.
Yeah.
And that's
there
why
was nothing in it.
That's
also, this movie was directed by Guy Ritchie. Where was he? Where the hell was he? I love Guy Ritchie. His directing style works really well for a lot of movies, and I thought, okay, if you're gonna remake Aladdin, completely make it different, give it a Guy Ritchie style, and they didn't. They just made it extremely bland.
And here comes the part where I very awkwardly say that as much as I am just so possibly meh on this movie, I mean, how's the acting? Meh. How's the singing? Meh. How's the story? Meh. I actually really, really, really liked Will Smith in the movie. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I look, I get you like Will Smith, but just the subplot of him having a romantic relation.
I actually liked her.
Oh,
She
and-
was charming in her own way.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
did.
Yeah, she was funny. And Robert Adams, I actually do agree with you. I did like their take on A Whole New World. If like it could have been better, obviously. It could have been staged better. It could have been choreographed better. But I thought it was well performed. So, you know. But okay. So then we got that one out of the way.
Yeah.
All right. Case. You and I very much differ on the next movie that I'm going to bring up.
Yes, we do.
Because I think the original is a goddamn masterpiece, and you think it's just fine. That's fair. And while I don't hate this remake, I'm starting to understand why people do fucking despise it. But you actually found that you like the remake of Beauty and the Beast a little bit better than the original. So just
Yeah.
get into that just a little bit. Just a little bit.
My biggest issues with Beauty and the Beast, the original, first of all, is Belle, because I kind of feel like this is where it's betraying a message, because Belle is supposed to be the smarter girl, the more sophisticated girl, but she still ends up falling in love with prince with a big castle, a gorgeous prince with a big castle. And yes, the message is about her, seeing the personality inside. However, in the original, it's pretty much, again, Elsa, you can't fall in love with the guy you met just now. And that's really how it feels in the original. Like, they just met, she falls in love with him. It really feels like Stockholm Syndrome. And I'm just not a big fan of Belle in the original, and that's why in the remake it takes a little bit more time. It shows a little bit more scenes between them, where I feel they flesh out that relation a little bit more, and they give that more time to marinate with you, and that's why I like that more. Also, this is where I do think a couple of the new songs work, especially Evermore. Evermore is a really good song, I think. Now it still has and of course, the fact that they don't mention the prince's age at any point during the movie, which is extremely important because it frustrates the fuck out of me in the original. And I like the original actually quite a bit, because I do think that, yes, the message is good. There's a good story, great songs, good animation. But I think it's just a tad overrated compared to what a lot of people say, because a lot of people say it's one of the best ones, and it's the one that went up for Best Picture. There I kind of disagree. And I think while the new one has problems, because why the hell they decided to do CG for the Beast, I will never know. I will never understand that. It's terrible for most of the movie. And a couple of scenes that they included weren't needed. But I like the cast. I liked Emma Watson very much as Belle, and I believed her character more in this one, and that worked for me. Now, I totally get, for a lot of people who are big fans of the original Beauty and the Beast, or not so much fans, just that this didn't work. I get that, but for me, this one did work, and that's why I enjoy it.
And to go off your one point there, actually, because while I do think that, again, for me, the original is a perfect film, but the criticism, I'll say, of the fact that you don't actually really get a sense of the passage of time between Belle and the Beast's relationship, you know what? Fair enough. And whereas in the remake, they do address that. They actually do. So, fair enough. Ingle, I get the feeling you're on the complete opposite end.
Yeah, it's
so
this movie.
Please.
This movie is a shitstorm, and you all know it. All right, you've been drinking the Disney Kool-Aid, and I don't know what happened to you. Look, here's what's wrong with this film. First of all, Emma Watson cannot sing. She's auto-tuned the entire time. She is atrocious. No, she is atrocious. I love you, Hermione Granger. Stay Hermione Granger. That's all I want. You were not my Belle. Second of all, miscast all around. Okay.
Oh no.
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 I love me some Ewan McGregor. We've talked about Ewan earlier. Love Ewan. Ewan and the approach they made him do with Lumiere was terrible. Atrocious. No. Oh, you're adding to it. He's creating a list. All right, and then in terms of miscast. Okay. Emma or what? Sorry, Mrs. Potts. Okay.
How can you be against Emma Thompson?
Hold on.
Are you high?
Wait. I'm getting there. I like Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts. However, Emma does not have as good a singing voice to work off of. I'm not a fan of her rendition of Taylor's Oldest Time. But, you happen to have someone else on the cast who would have also been an awesome Mrs. Potts, and we know can sing. Multi-Tony Award-winning actress Audra McDonald, and you turned her into diva, and you only used her for one frickin' song! You Disney idiots! You messed it up so bad! Oh my god! The only alluring thing I really liked about this film was Gaston and LeFou. I love Gaston and LeFou, and I love Josh Gad. Josh Gad is just being Josh Gad, and I'm okay with it.
Yes.
But everything else in that film, it's an obvious rehash. It's the same problem that continuously happens. And this film has no charm to it. It has no allure to it. Oh, no. I told my kids when they wanted to go see it, I sent them with my wife because I wanted nothing to do with it. And then I made the mistake of buying it on Blu-ray. And I actually sat down and watched it twice in a row because I thought, you know what? No. I'm going to give it its fair go. And my instincts were dead on right about this. This film did not need to be done, and if you were going to do it, give me something a little bit more. You didn't do it, Disney. You let me down, and now I will forever look at Hermione Granger and go, I know you can't sing.
Which, okay, yes, now in that regard, I would 100% agree. It does kind of bug me how much auto-tune they had to use on her voice. But that said, Kevin Kline as Maurice, loved him. Absolutely loved him. Luke Evans as Gaston, I'll be honest, I love him more than the original. I love this version of Gaston more than the original because, okay, this is just a me thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And
because
this is totally a me thing where I want my villain to actually be likable when I first meet him, and then I want to see his descent to the dark side throughout the course of the film.
Yeah, I agree.
To be honest, that makes him much more of a badass.
By the way, what's also weird, I haven't liked Luke Evans in pretty much anything else because I think he's not that good of an actor. But this is the perfect role for him.
Yes.
And this is where he worked.
Yeah. And while, of course, because the songs in the original for me are untouchable. They're untouchable. Hell, honestly, you could have just played the original songs from the original movie. I wouldn't have cared. I would have been like, yay, sing along. Let's do this. But the cast did the best with what they were given. And yes, I do agree I do agree a couple of characters were miscast. But that said,
by the way, I do want to say my favorite song from the original, Be Our Guest, I thought was really well done in the remake.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I mean, of course, Ewan isn't quite Jerry Orbach, but
no, but he was good. He was really good.
Exactly. It was still very well performed, I'd say. So now I'm gonna make Kees play nice guy. Because now it's time to get into the meat and potatoes. Fucking fuck this fucking fuck. Please start, Kees.
I like this movie. I think it's a fun fantasy movie. I'm not a big fan of the original Sleeping Beauty because, well, Aurora had fuck all to do, and they probably went the wrong way with making Aurora the main character in that original, and that's why I thought it was a very and that is why I thought it was a good. Look, from an idea perspective, making Maleficent the main character is a great idea in the first place.
Yes.
Because she is by far the most interesting character of that original movie, and you would want to see more of her backstory. Now, did that work for you? Well, it might not have, because it's like around the 50-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. So there are people who like it, there are people who don't. I like it. I've heard your issues. I don't know other people's issues. Maybe they are the same. But first of all, this is one thing where I think this movie is better than Cinderella. Maleficent is the name of the movie and the name of the main character. Same with Cinderella. But at least Maleficent is good, is well casted. Angelina Jolie is a great Maleficent, in my opinion. And they gave a good backstory to her that you understand, where you see where she comes from. Now, Shelter Copley, on the other hand, is something else. That is kind of an issue with. Look, I don't absolutely love this movie. I just like it, and it's mostly because of Angelina Jolie as Maleficent, and I think that works throughout the entirety of the movie. But yeah, Shelter Copley is a lot. And especially like the third act, I kind of clock out because I'm like, okay, whatever. She's gonna survive because there's gonna be a sequel, you know that. And whatever.
Boy, aren't they?
What?
I said, boy, aren't they gonna do a sequel?
Yeah, boy, aren't they? we'll get into that again. Then, yeah. I liked Aurora more in this movie because, she had more to do. There was more character to Aurora because, yeah, I've seen Sleeping Beauty and she has fuck all to do. And again, Elsa, you can't fall in love with someone you just met. It is the same thing in Sleeping Beauty. And with Aurora, they actually give that a little bit more build-up, So that's what I like. And I do like the fact that in this movie they make a little bit of a relation between Maleficent and Aurora that I believe and that I think is good. And while Maleficent is kind of frightening at some points, you see her art and you see her turn around and you actually see that she comes to care for her. And I like that. It might not be the best movie, but I think it was a good fantasy movie, which is something that you don't really see these days. Where they did create a lot of interesting sci-fi fantasy things that a lot of movies don't do, and I just like it. It has issues, I know.
Ingle?
Remember that slap in the face I told you about that I might have missed for Alice, but definitely got in Maleficent? So, my wife's favorite Disney character all time is Maleficent. I heard nothing but, I want to go see this film. I want to go see this film. I want to go see this film. And I'll tell you what, I did too. Angelina Jolie, 100% I agree with you. I looked at her and went, that is Maleficent. I believed it. I still believe it. Even after seeing the sequel. I still believe it. I still believe it. Rising Phoenixes. Anyway, the first act of that film could have been done as like a short. If like I had the Beauty and the Sleeping Beauty DVD, like or the Blu-ray release that they're doing, and I found out that they had done, say, a 20-minute short of Maleficent's backstory, just that first act. That is beautiful. Like, I get it. One of the things I always complained about Beauty and the Beast was that, or I keep saying that, Sleeping Beauty, was that Maleficent is just a bitch. Like, oh, I didn't get invited to a party, so I'm gonna kill your baby. There's no motivation there. I don't have it. I got nothing. This gives me that. This gives me that backstory that was amazing. There's a relationship with King Philip, and I'm like, okay.
Stefan.
Or sorry, yeah. But the point is, I love it. That was amazing. Then she became an adult. Then everything else came in, and I don't buy it. I don't buy the relationship. You buy it. I'm glad you buy that relationship between them. I don't buy this mother-daughter type relationship that happens. And part of that is because we're supposed to be putting her as the mistress of all evil. I also remind you, the title of the second one is Mistress of Evil. In the original, she proclaimed herself the mistress of all evil. So be evil. You have her on a cliff. You could just push her off, and she's gone. All your problems are gone. Yay, goodbye. And she saved her. And who did she save her from? The fucking 3 fairies. The fairies. Oh my God. The fairies are the heroes in the original film. And they made them look like morons. And then didn't even give them anything redeeming in it at all. And then the third act is almost unforgettable. I like the battle scene. I like the darkness. I like her facing the king. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But the fact is that she is evil. I don't want to fully sympathize with her. Give me a reason why I understand she's evil. Fine. Continue that, Disney. You got caught in your own formula of having to make a happily ever after story when you could have very easily let her stay evil and we could have hated her. But you know what? That would have been in character. We didn't even get a dragon. I wanted my damn dragon and you didn't give me my dragon. Disney, I'm creating a t-shirt that says, "Give me my damn dragon." Dohmen?
Yeah.
Hello, Daenerys Targaryen. Where are my dragons?
Ugh, criminy. Right. But okay. Now, I haven't talked about this in public. Now, Kees, you do know my main gripe with this movie, so I'll keep this brief. Yes, because you know what, Ingle? You are actually right. If you would just take literally everything up unto the cutting of the wings, and you release it as a short film that goes along with the original 1959 animated film. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Perfection. Except for the fact that now, because Stefan is clearly the bad guy, Maleficent. Here's my problem with Maleficent in general. It's a rape and revenge film. And I fucking find that completely disgusting and irresponsible. Because, she's allowed to do whatever she wants that is evil because she's a rape victim. And that is all aboard the Yikes Express for me, dog. As Jay Burns would say. So, yeah. Let's get off this movie, and let's talk about a better movie. One that for some still has problems, but you know what? I do quite like, as we start to wrap up this conversation. Oh, Obi-Do, I want to be like, yo.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. But The Jungle Book is still a good time. Ingle, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I told you earlier my history with Jungle Book, and the fact that a live-action Jungle Book hurt a lot. In fact, it really started to affect the way I even looked at the original. For a long time, I couldn't even watch the original. It wasn't working for me. It really was starting to not work. I did not see this movie in the theaters. I waited. I was like, Jungle Book? I don't know, man. Wait, the guy that was in Iron Man? What? No. No. And that's all I kept doing was no. But finally I caved and I watched it. Not only is this the example of taking the story that you have and loving it, giving it a loving kiss, but letting it kind of become its own thing. But then you back it up with amazing visuals that, argue all you want, the visuals in Lion King are because of this movie. And the visuals were beautiful to look at. Yeah. Jungle Book gave us why we love this, why that movie is a classic, and yet made it its own thing with its ending. Its ending, instead of spoilers for a movie that's been out for how many years?
3 years.
It's instead of Mowgli running off to the man jungle with the girl, he stays with the pack. He stays with Baloo and Bagheera, and you know what? I love that. I like that kind of an ending in this case. He was a man and a beast, and I'm okay with that. And you had an amazing Shere Khan. Yes. I absolutely love Shere Khan. And I was slack-jawed when the scene where Shere Khan is talking to the pack and he's just sitting there, I'm going to take over. Yeah, pounce and kill the leader. I did not see that coming. I really didn't. And I was like, whoa, Disney. Whoa, you took some cojones right there. And yet, Bill Murray is Baloo. Then we get that lighthearted. I felt like I was watching Bill Murray and Baloo at the same time, and I loved it. Now, ooby-doo. Chris Walken was my one fear, because I know how Chris Walken can over Chris Walken things, and I will be honest with you. The approach that they took of him doing like the spoken word of "I want to be like you," I liked it.
Oh, you
liked. Yes, I sat there going, yes, I like it. And he was overly giant. I don't know why they did it. I'm okay with it. This was absolutely amazing of a film. Ben Kingsley as Bagheera. You know what? Thank you, Disney, for doing it right. These guys, they're gonna hate on Chris Walken, and they can hate on Chris Walken all you want.
No. I'm not gonna hate on.
I'm not hating on Walken. I'm hating on how it came out, on how they did it in the film.
There's a very specific thing about it, and I didn't realize that I had an issue with it. I did, but I didn't realize what my issue with it was until I saw a review of some kind. Christopher Walken as King Louie, yes. However, he starts singing a song that carries the plot forward, and that makes it a musical. However, this movie is not a musical. This movie is just a regular movie. They cut out all the songs from the original, which, that's good. And they only included Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You because those are the two most popular songs. Bare Necessities is used well because it is used as a song, as a standalone song that they sing, not to carry the plot forward in a musical type of way. But the problem is that King Louie starts singing it to carry the plot forward, and it's just weird. The moment that he starts singing, it's weird, and I never bought the entire song for 1 second, despite the fact that I like singing the song because I love the song from the original, but that's because I love the song from the original and not how it's used in this movie. And that's kind of my only gripe with it, the fact that they just misused the song.
I Want to Be Like You is in my top 10 Disney songs of all time.
Exactly. It's one of my favorites.
Louis Prima's original is a great example of jazz, how to do it correctly, and how to do a jazz record that I can actually get behind. Because here's the thing, I love jazz music. I genuinely do. But here's the thing, I don't listen to studio recordings of jazz. I listen to live recordings or I see it in person. I can't do studio recordings. And yet, this one time, Disney got it right, and I loved it. Yet, Walken, who can sing incredibly well. Good God, any of you watched Hairspray?
No. Okay.
No. We'll hash this out another time, sir. Christopher Walken is a goddamn national treasure who can sing and dance with the best of them.
Peter Pan.
What? I'm not talking about that fucking thing, okay? That's a fucking abomination. No, fuck you. But outside of that, and outside of this movie, he's great. But just have him do the goddamn song. Just have him do the whole entire song, because as Kees already mentioned, it's a plot-relevant song. And they fucked it up. But beside that, as you mentioned, Kingsley, great. ScarJo, fucking great. Idris, great. Neil Sethi, Mowgli himself, I love the character of Mowgli in this version. Something I can't quite say about the original. Sorry. So, yeah.
Yeah, and can we also give major props to Neil Sethi, a kid actor who hadn't done anything before, who needed to act off of green screen for the entirety of this movie, and you believe that he's interacting with animals. What the fuck? You can't make that up. It is phenomenal how they did that.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's one of those times where Disney showed that they can actually work with kid actors to give a solid performance.
Yeah.
Unlike a movie that I otherwise love, minus the kid actors, 2019's Dumbo. I actually love this movie.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
I gotta sit out on it because I'm ashamed to say I haven't watched it yet.
That's fine.
Oh.
That's fine. Even though, yes, Kees, as I mentioned, I do hate the fact that, according to me, the pink elephants are in this movie. I know.
They're 100% in this movie. They literally, like, Danny DeVito's character literally says, pink elephants? When they're watching it. They're all watching it. It's just not in the way that the original did it. Oh my God. Fucking crime, right? Look, this Dumbo did exactly what it needed to do, and that is not do what the original did in its weirdness. The original is way too fucking weird and dated for today's times to redo what they did. You can't feed an elephant drunk and make him hallucinate in today's day and age. And you know why? Because you can't make an elephant the main character when he doesn't talk. The original works because because it's a very short movie. You don't make him talk, you make the mouse talk, and that works off of him. And of course, like the other animal characters talk and they interact with him, and that helps. But still, the original is so fucking weird that there are a lot of issues with it, and I do get why they brought Tim Burton on board, and that's why people might have the expectation, oh, this is going to be as weird as the original. But Tim Burton toned it down, and I actually like that because, as I said, I usually don't like Tim Burton's style because it's just too out there. This is a reason I'm not the biggest fan of the Batman movies. Sorry. But with this one, he knew exactly what to bring to it, because we do see some of his style, but they make human characters work well. Colin Farrell is always just great. Michael Keaton is perfect, pretty much. Like, he's awesome in this movie. And yes, they actually do a lot of the things that the original did, but just more toned down, more normal, but it still works, and I still do think it makes for a good movie. And as I said, I'm just not a big fan of the original, so I didn't really want to see that much of the original.
You know, I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen it, but my kids have. And it really they brought me a question, and I haven't really answered them yet. They asked me, Daddy, what's a circus? Now, I wanted to be shocked and go, what have I done? But then I realized where I live in the state of California, it is now illegal to have animals perform. You can't have circuses the way that Dumbo shows it anymore. You can't have that classic exposure. So I realized that kids today may not understand this idea of the circus as even we might have grown up with it. It might be a little out of touch with time. Now, I haven't seen it yet, but due to the fact that my kids asked that question, it makes me wonder if it is indeed out of its time.
No, I actually don't think it is.
No. Like, it's a period piece.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of showing why... Here, I'll put it this way. And for everybody in the chat, I am not sorry for what I'm about to say here. It shows why The Greatest Showman is a fucking terrible movie. Because what's the message of the movie? Animal cruelty. And I appreciate that so goddamn much. Also, this movie is a brilliant satire of Disney itself, which is so goddamn genius.
Yeah, because it burns down a giant corporation.
And literally, J.W. Vanderveer's office is the Death Star.
Yes, it is. No, it's seriously, like, Michael Keaton's character is pretty much like Bob Iger, but just a little different, and of course more menacing. But yeah, it's kind of like they took the piss out of their own company, and it's awesome.
Yeah. And that's why and the thing is, I watched this movie because it's doubly funny because this movie came out pretty much the same weekend that the Fox deal was done and official.
Yes.
So, of course, the whole time, I'm watching the Medici Brothers Circus as 20th Century Fox. And I'm watching J.W. Vanderveer and Dreamland as the Walt Disney Company. So, yeah. Once I realized that, I'm like, well, first off, thank you, Critically Acclaimed, for pointing that out. So that way when I saw it, it made sense to me. And then I'm like, oh yeah, wow, Burton. Good job. You made a brilliant satire, sir. Well done. So yeah, and Eva Green, we forgot to mention her. She's
She's great. She's great. But when isn't she great in a movie?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe besides 300 Rise of an Empire.
Yeah, but she's naked in that movie, so it's fine.
So that's good. We're good. Because tits!
Yes, apparently. But, okay. So, yeah, no, like I said, Dumbo, I think is genuinely great. Okay. I think there's only one movie left to tackle.
Yes.
Is it the latest one?
No.
No?
Last year.
Yep.
Okay.
And wait, hold on a second.
Ewan McGregor again.
The dragon.
Oh, we forgot Pete's Dragon.
Oh, we forgot Pete's Dragon.
Wait, hold on. That right
everyone-
there tells you what you need to know about Pete's Dragon. I forgot about Pete's Dragon. Oh yeah.
Everyone forgets about that movie, and I didn't see it.
And here's the thing, it's a cute little film, but it is kind of forgettable. Like you'll have a good time watching it. You'll enjoy it. Carl Urban's great.
Dragon.
Bryce Dallas Howard's great. I like the look of Elliot, the dragon, but
I kind of missed the musical in a way. I wanted the music.
No. Fuck the redneck family. Fuck the dragon killer person. Fuck the fucking fuck.
Candle on the Water is an amazing song, sir.
All right, fine, but fuck the redneck family.
And then Money by the Pound. Money. I love that.
Can we continue the Christopher Robin?
All right, fine.
Okay, never mind. I thought we were saving. I thought we already got past the worst, and yeah, I completely forgot about this one because this movie's fucking awful.
I didn't think it was awful.
No.
It's just that I clearly wasn't the audience for this movie. This is extremely kiddie, kind of boring, but it's cute. Like, it's for kids.
It's for kids with no understanding of real world consequences.
Yes, that's true. It's for little kids who don't really understand anything about the real world. Plus, it is for hardcore Winnie the Pooh fans because that hardcore Winnie the Pooh fans would probably like this. But as someone who kind of not really remembers Winnie the Pooh, I'm like, it was okay, I guess. It wasn't harmful, I think. In terms of characters, It's just that there's not much to this movie.
Don't waste your time. Go instead watch the infinitely better Goodbye, Christopher Robin.
Yes.
Much better film to watch.
With Donald Gleason.
Mhm.
Ah. That's
And that's the thing is that when I remember when they announced a Christopher Robin thing, and I was like, oh, okay. Then very shortly after this Goodbye Christopher Robin was announced, and I was like, well, which is which? Which is which? Goodbye Christopher Robin happened to come out first, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, like this kid went through a lot. And the creation of this story, this is fabulous. This is a great movie. And then actually got me kind of excited for the idea of a more fictional Christopher Robin. Okay. And then I watched it and I was underwhelmed. I mean, Ewan is fine, but he's the working dad. And it's actually, in a weird way, the plot between this and the second Mary Poppins films rung very similar to me.
yes. Yes.
So it
And
just pass it up. Watch by Christopher Robin.
And I'd say with a similar sense of, I hate using this word, but pandering to a younger audience with strictly just only their enjoyment in mind. And that bothers me actually a little bit. Like, because I wanted to like Christopher Robin. I wanted to like Mary Poppins Returns. And okay, to be fair, I do actually like Mary Poppins Returns. But that's more so just for the music, not as much for the story and the message presented. But that's kind of been a lot of my thing with a lot of these movies. Is I want to like them because I want them to take chances and try new things. Like, for example, Maleficent. It actually is probably the most different from its source material, and I appreciate it for that. But it botches the execution so badly that I'm just like, oh, why did you fucking try? For my personal taste, though.
Well, because at least they tried, unlike a lot of these other Disney remakes.
Yeah, that's pretty true. And which can only lead to another, why'd you fucking try if you were just going to really airball it more so than Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. And okay, there's dumb, there's ridiculously incompetent, and then there's insulting literally your source material, your audience, and your previous film beforehand. Maleficent does all fucking three. It insults the audience by giving us a film that is ridiculously incompetent. It gives us a movie that insults its previous film by completely going against everything that came before it. And on top of that, it tells it does that story trope that, oh, I can't fucking stand when it's done incorrectly. So here, Kees, I'll just say this because we saw the trailer together, right? Oh no, no, you will not like it, sir. So have some beers when you watch it. You're gonna need them.
At home.
Yes. When you're at home, have some beers because you're gonna need them.
I will.
Yeah, the only really redeemable thing about this is towards the third act. There's a fight scene. It's a pretty damn good fight scene.
No, it's not.
I liked it. I sat there going, why couldn't I have had more of this? I wanted more of that. Give me more of that, because everything else you were offering me is all the same thing over and over and over again. And I really hoped that Michelle Pfeiffer would have been a good addition to this. I really, 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 really hoped it, because Michelle Pfeiffer has that potential. She can. And she's just the stereotypical mother queen bitch fucking cussing.
Literally, she's a mix of her character from Stardust with Charlotte Copley from the original.
Oh, yikes. Oh, big yikes.
Yeah.
No, she adds nothing to this.
I love her in Stardust. And I just rewatched that movie this week. And I think she's fantastic in it. But I don't want to see that character mixed with Charlotte Copley from the original because I couldn't fucking stand Charlotte Copley from the original.
No, because he's kind of bad in that movie. Yeah.
And you know what? And to be clear, just like in the first one, though, Angelina doing what she does, she's fine.
Yeah. But they literally fuck her character so hard.
So that they figuratively did what they literally figuratively did in the first.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, in case, you know how we were talking about Alice in Wonderland earlier, and I mentioned a Chosen One prophecy?
Oh dear.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go that route in this movie.
So they full on went Anakin Skywalker. Cool.
Yep. And they did the worst possible fucking way they could have. So, yeah. Not
Stay home and wait for it to come out.
And just get shit-faced.
Yeah.
Save your money and just go see Rise of the Skywalkers.
Yes.
Like several times, like I already paid for
Exactly.
in IMAX.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I'm taking my folks opening night to go see that because that's been our tradition. We've seen episode 7 together, episode 8 together, and we're gonna see episode 9 together.
That's Rogue One or Solo.
My mom wasn't as interested to see those in the theater, so I'm just like, okay.
Oh.
You know, and plus, my dad and I, we just couldn't coordinate times when we could see it together.
Ah, okay.
So, but it's fine. It's fine.
And
But
if the theater's too full, you could always go see Cats.
And with that, guys, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Who Cares Anime podcast. We hope you all enjoyed the conversation about Disney live-action remakes. And I really appreciate that a lot of you guys were really active in the chat. Seriously, I love going back the next day and seeing what you guys put in. And I'm sorry that I don't always respond to them right away as often as I'd like to. But, hey, you guys are doing the work for me. And the hashtag ChinaSticks Army is only getting stronger every day. So you all, thank you so fucking much. And in the meantime, Chris Ingle, our good friend, where may the good folks find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at CIngle1984.
Awesome. Kees, my friend, where may the good folks find you online?
Of course, as always, hashtag ChinaSticks. And you can find me compete in a Star Wars Rebels Full Metal random match against Nico Swavarogoli and Jay Burns over at Full Metal Trivia. I think I did pretty well, but calling yourself a Grand Admiral comes with certain expectations. So yeah, check that match out. I had a lot of fun with it. And you can follow me at This Movie Guy on Twitter, Kees Cornelisse on Facebook and Letterboxd. Also, reviewing Star Wars Resistance on our Star Wars Resistance recap show, Viva la Resistance, every Sunday, Monday, whenever we get it up. Check that out when it comes out, of course, this week. I think that's it.
All right. And, of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Dohmen. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A Channel. Please like our Facebook page. Join our Facebook group so you can stay up to date with everything going on. If you want to hop in on our poker nights, which I just started doing out of the blue. Ingle was on the first one. I think we definitely had fun. That's to say the least. And of course, our Shmoyan reactions for the live event will be dropping pretty much as soon as we're done with the show, or I'll at least be uploading them. And oh yeah, big announcements. Middle of November. There's a lot coming in 2020, guys. I'm not even fucking kidding here. There's a reason that the banner in the Facebook group looks a little different, because expect some shit. But until then, you know what to do. Take care!
Yeah!